On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And we're in the same room
in
with
the
Geoffs.
same room.
Can you even believe it?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. I feel
It feels so fake.
It feels weird. It feels bizarre at this point.
Oh.
Well, actually, it almost feels like we're doing like a live show right now.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it?
Totally does.
We haven't recorded in the same room since September.
Since September, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Which we both have our little vibes down and everything, but this is really fun. I just got off a plane.
I'm shy.
Are you nervous?
Yeah. What the hell?
You guys, okay.
Yeah, tell him.
Well, we need to catch them up on everything. So, part of it will get you on our coffin spinner. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
We were spinning together in our coffin this week as well.
We absolutely were. Can't get enough of each other.
We really can't. So, you were with me in Tennessee 2 days ago.
Yes.
You came from like a Thursday to a Monday. We had the absolute best time with the champ and one of our best friends, Alyssa.
Yes.
And it was just a weekend of so much fun. We got to do so much cool shit. We went to the Opry.
Oh, that was so fun. I almost forgot.
It's been like a blur of a week. You're probably going to get a lot of chaos this episode, just forewarning, because
we feel
we're running on adrenaline right
Yes.
now, but in the best way possible.
It's 8:52 p.m. here, which means it's 11:50.
10, 2 hours ahead.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
10 o'clock.
10:52.
I've been up and going since 4 a.m. LA time. But you guys, you were so you were at my house and we had so much fun. We ran around Nashville, got to do so much fun stuff for my birthday. I had the most beautiful cake the champ got me.
Oh, it was wonderful. And then we found it the last night in the garage and just dug in.
We're putting that picture in.
Yes.
I showed him because he's like, "Did you guys get into the cake?" And I said, "What?"
We sure did.
We sure did.
With forks on the garage floor. It was so good.
We snuck out of the house, walked over to the garage, opened up the garage fridge, pulled out the cake, and we were just in there with forks, just eating it.
Chowing down.
So good. And then we had like a 2-day break. And then today I flew here because Cisco's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not why. Don't mind if he's here, but
it just worked. I mean, it's so much more fun when it's just the girls.
I know. I was like, when you told me he was going out of town, I was like, I'm going to come. So I came. And I flew out here this afternoon. Well, I landed this evening. We went straight to a Thai restaurant that we love.
Yes, and we can't order from it like DoorDash because they do a ghost kitchen.
Yeah, you guys know what we're talking about. So like sometimes you'll have a restaurant that you love and then you order it and it just doesn't taste the same.
Mm-mm.
We figured out that they were using a ghost kitchen.
Yeah.
So the food just was not the same. So we went in person. We got to sit, have our meal.
We were saying that the place looks very much like it's from like the early 2000s, like an episode of America's Next Top Model house.
Red walls, black
trim,
Buddhas everywhere. Beautiful early 2000s vibe.
Yeah.
We love it. And I feel like it's going to fucking hit at a Thai restaurant when it's got that early 2000s vibe
They've
going.
probably been there since then or even earlier and haven't had the need to remodel because they're just that good.
Delicious.
So, delicious.
Absolutely delicious.
Which I will take over somebody trying to renovate a place and make it super sleek and
Oh,
modern. And
we
I
only have
fucking hate
light
that.
wood and glass.
I hate it.
Kiss
I hate
my
it.
ass. Yeah, no, you don't need it. And now we're here. I mean, a big thing we did on our trip is what our coffin spinner is about.
Just go to the mall.
Yeah, we did go to the mall.
First stop, actually.
First stop, Green Hills Mall. Shout out. Love it. I was actually there last night and got a fucking big old Cinnabon.
Oh, and you got...
And my wedding suit.
Oh, that was so... We haven't really gotten to talk about that. Beautiful. I won't give any details, but it's so...
Be a surprise.
So perfect.
So
good.
And it's very different than what I thought.
Yes, and I feel like that's how it happens. It's like you put something on, you're like, yeah, this is fucking it.
Yeah.
But you cannot shave your head. The whole fucking weekend, he wanted to shave his head.
Well, I might.
I just want a buzzed haircut.
I might tomorrow. We don't know.
He saw himself with a filter, with a buzzed head, and was like,
I said, I'm going to do it.
We even stopped at a beauty supply so you could get clippers.
We bought clippers. But then I chickened out.
I know.
And so I have an appointment here with my barber that I used to go to tomorrow.
She's not shaving your head. You can't do that.
Why? I have
Wait
plenty
till
of
after
time.
the wedding.
No, you do wild hair things. I have plenty of time.
And I know from experience, you did my hair for my wedding. It was beautiful. But there's some things that you just can't work with.
Yeah.
And that was all the dead, damaged little hair.
I've got months though.
Yeah.
I've got a whole head of hair I can grow again.
Or you can wear a wig.
Or I can just wear a wig on my head.
Perfect.
We'll see.
Well, we have a lot to go over in our coffin spinners.
Yes.
I feel like we need to just get into it.
Yes, Madison. We can't take up all of their time or that'd make us some real assholes.
You're right. Do you have any?
I have one for us because it's kind of she's girthy.
Ooh.
She's got some weight to her.
Okay.
And it says, am I the asshole for asking my roommate to stop saying she wishes her dad died instead of divorcing her mom?
Wishes her dad died instead of... Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay.
It says, I, 19 female, live in a house with 5 other girls at uni. 4 of them are 22 and one is also 19. The main issue is with one girl I'll call Kate. About 6 months ago, Kate's parents separated and she's been taking it really hard. I do get that because my parents divorced when I was a kid, and I know how confusing and emotional that can be.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I've tried to be there for her as much as possible. I've spent nights letting her cry, listening to her rant, and offering advice when she asks for it. Sounds like a good friend when she asks for it, not just offering unsolicited advice.
Right. I be giving advice.
When
no one's asking.
Mm-hmm. She often...
Bitch? Oh, like you don't?
Sure do.
Girl.
She often says things like, I can't believe my parents would do this to me, or they must not love me if they won't stay together.
Oh, come on.
I've tried to gently remind her that their relationship is separate from their love for her. For some background about me, my parents divorced when I was young and remarried. When I was 11, my stepmom died from brain cancer. Then, last year, my mom also passed away from cancer. The 1-year anniversary of my mom's death just recently passed, so it still feels very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Kate has started saying things like, it would have been easier if my dad had just died instead of leaving. She also said she wishes he had gotten sick instead of getting a divorce, and she's made comments like this multiple times over the past few weeks.
I would hit her. No, just kidding.
Oh, as someone who has lost 2 parents, those comments really hurt.
Yeah.
I tried to ignore it at first because I know she's going through something difficult, but it kept happening. And 2 weeks ago, we were all sitting in the living room, and I finally said something like, Kate, I'm sorry, but you've recently said some things that feel really insensitive to me. I understand you're going through a lot, but when you say you wish your dad had died instead of leaving, it really hurts because I know what it's like to lose a parent, and I'd appreciate it if you just don't say those things around me.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize it may have been more appropriate to bring it up privately, but she had just said it in front of everyone, and I decided to respectfully respond in the moment. She immediately got defensive and said her cousin's parents died young and she helped raise them, so she knows what I'm going through. And I told her politely that's not the same as losing your own parent. She got very upset and said she was so angry she was going to stop talking before she said something worse. Afterwards, I went into the bathroom because I started panicking and I ended up crying and throwing up. None of the other girls checked on me and they all stayed with Kate. Since then, the house has basically iced me out. When we're in the same room, they ignore me or continue conversations like I'm not there. A week later, I texted Kate saying whenever she's ready to talk, I'm open to it. And she said she felt humiliated that I called her out in front of everyone and isn't ready to talk about something so personal. Am I the asshole for asking her not to say those things around me, especially since I said it in front of everyone?
No, I don't think you're the asshole. And I think it's kind of funny that she's saying, I can't believe you called me out and I don't want to talk about something so personal. When she's the
been
one
crying on this person's shoulder the whole time.
Yes, but she was the one talking about it in front of everybody. That's why the girl or the person responded in front of everybody.
She's embarrassed because she knows she's probably in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think until, you know, your family, you deal with that loss in any capacity, you can't relate. I can relate to someone on losing a parent, obviously, but I couldn't relate to someone on the loss of an infant, right?
Right.
There's different capacities and there's different, I mean, everyone's grief is their own unique experience, but I get being fed up at a certain point and being like, I wish you would stop saying that in front of me. Like,
yeah.
Especially because what I found really bizarre is that this Kate person is like, if they would just stay together, if they loved me, and then she's saying she wishes her dad. So do you want your parents to stay together, or do you want your dad to have a slow, agonizing death?
Yeah,
what's the truth?
When she said, I hope, or I wish that he just got sick or something, it's like, no, the fuck you don't.
Weird,
first of all.
yeah.
You have no, like, obviously you've had a really, I don't want to say privileged life, but like to not have to experience shit like that. But like
a divorce is traumatizing on so many levels, but at the same time, you sound like a fucked up weirdo for saying that.
You sound like a brat.
Yeah, a brat is what it is.
Yeah.
Mommy, Daddy, I can't believe you're doing this to me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, give me a break.
Spencer, if we had a kid together, we would sit there and say, you're being a fucking brat.
You're being a little fucking brat right now.
We're getting divorced because your father's has a boyfriend, has a fiance. And it's okay. It's all love. We're all okay.
We're fine.
And you're being a brat.
You're being a brat about this.
Yeah.
Like when I moved away.
What?
Remember some people were bratty?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you guys.
You guys.
It's all okay.
It is. It's all going to be okay. Everything works out. Everything is fine.
It all works out. So, not an asshole.
I don't think an asshole. I also think, so I think Kate's an asshole.
Okay.
But I also think all the girls that don't talk to her.
That feels weird and it feels more loaded. Which then makes me think, okay, the writer of this, is she
a monster?
Is she like notoriously doing shit like this?
Or is Kate just nuts? And it's like, actually, they're in a sorority and she's like the president of this sorority and they don't, you know what I mean?
Like we can't fuck with Kate.
Yeah, like, fuck, dude.
Or they're like, she's going through something right now. We can't. I don't know.
Just, yeah.
Getting iced out by everyone feels weird, though.
It does feel weird, but I think there's also something empowering about it and freeing. Because if you started icing me out or something, or if like some of our close friends did, I'd go off. I'd lose it. Girl. Okay, ice me out. I'd make everybody feel weird.
Okay, we'll see. Cut to you shape your head.
Maybe I will. That's freeing.
I'm releasing the trauma.
Hair holds trauma.
Hair holds trauma.
I have a listener email about somebody cool. Okay. This says, I figured I had to send this in because, honestly, in my head, we're all besties. And if I was standing there thinking, is this real life right now, and laughing through it, I just know my fellow Geoffs would be giggling right along with me. And yes, you can say my name. I would die happy if this was read on the pod. I love this story so much.
Okay.
My great-grandmother passed away, and naturally, I was heartbroken. In my mind, she was always this sweet, quiet, angelic woman. Soft-spoken, kind, the type you'd picture floating through heaven with a halo already pre-installed. Fast forward to the day of her wake. We had to travel to New York for her services. I had never been to an open casket wake before and was fully losing it. The entire drive there, I kept thinking, I am so not ready for this. We pull into the funeral home parking lot and it is packed. I remember thinking, wow, Grandma was so loved, which felt comforting. Then I step out of the car. I'm scanning the lot looking for my family when I notice a tall man in a leather vest facing me, chatting with another person in a leather vest. Then I see more leather, more vests. The man turns around. Across the back of his vest in large embroidered letters, Hell's Angels.
Oh.
They all say Hell's Angels. I turn to my husband and whisper,
Husband? Where are you located, honey? That's illegal here.
Husband. Damn, I like that as a new word. I turn to my cousin and whisper, did Grandma have a double life we were unaware of? And we absolutely lose it. Full inappropriate funeral cackling. Inside, about a dozen Hell's Angels and their partners are gathered in the waiting room. Meanwhile, my family, about 10 to 12 of us, is awkwardly huddled together. A few minutes pass and we realize that my 11-year-old brother isn't in my sight. Mr. Curiosity, Mr. Adventure, Mr. Let me just see what's happening over here. We're scanning every room. Then my boyfriend and I round the corner, and there he is, deep in conversation with the president of the Hell's Angels. I nearly shat myself. There they are, bonding over my brother's SpongeBob Snuggie. The president is telling him how his kid would absolutely love one. And just like that, the scariest men in the parking lot were normal. Needless to say, I cope with hard things through laughter, and that was definitely one for the books. Of course, Grandma couldn't leave this earth without one final joke. I learned that apparently there can be more than one service happening at a funeral home at the same time.
I was wondering.
Who knew? All in all, my grandma's wake was filled with so much love and so many memories. Her casket was beautiful, she looked peaceful, and there was a calmness in knowing she was finally at rest and where she has wanted to be for so long. Maybe this was just her way of letting me know she's rolling with the angels now. Hell's Angels, that is. Thank you for creating space for both truth and humor. It's truly helped me cope with the hard things. Much love from your bestie and fellow Geoff, Alicia.
Alicia, thank you so much for sending that in. That was a fun one.
I love that, a little twist.
Yeah, the plot twist at the end, because I was trying to figure out in my head, I'm like, how did she know that?
I know, but it was just another funeral going on. I think that's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
I would love to hear more stories if anyone has them of multiple funerals going on at once.
Totally. Like, how did so-and-so know them?
Yeah.
I love it.
Love it. All right, girly. Well, we were spinning together, but it is my turn for a little side bitch.
Yes.
So I have one, and the headline reads, Daughter of First Native Governor of Texas is dead.
Oh.
Houston, Miss I'm a Hog.
No, I'm a hog.
I'm a hog.
I'm a hog.
A patron of the arts and one of the state's most celebrated citizens died in a London hospital. She was 93.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, but she was incredible and she's really well respected.
Love.
But I don't care if you've done your Mother Teresa, the name I'm a Hog threw me.
Now, she was born with that name?
The daughter of Texas's first native-born governor, Miss Hogg, broke her hip
fucked up.
broke her hip in a fall outside her London hotel last Thursday and entered Westminster Hospital. Complications set in Saturday, and she died Tuesday. An autopsy was ordered. Known simply as Miss Ima.
Oh, yeah, drop the hog. Are you kidding me?
Wonder why. She was the daughter of James Stephen Hogg, the state's 19th governor, which means that was her
born name. So her parents said, oh, I'm a hog.
Oh, that's
her parents
crazy.
Are fucked up.
She had 3 brothers, Will, Mike, and Tom, who she outlived by several decades. The wealthy philanthropist who gave up her early desire to be a concert pianist founded the Houston Symphony Orchestra, provided many fine arts scholarships, and donated historical lands and dwellings to the public. The most noted was her Latin colonial-style mansion built in 1928 called Bayou Bend. The faint pink marble home, with its art and antique treasures and surrounding 15 acres, were deeded to the Museum of Fine Arts in 1968 as a decorative wing. Former Governor Alan Shivers, speaking of Miss Hogg, when he presented her with the University of Texas Distinguished Alumnus Award in 1963, said, "Some persons create history, some record it, others restore and conserve it. She has done all three."
God love her.
Mrs. John B. Connolly, when her husband was governor, once told an audience, "The governor's wife is usually called the first lady of the state, but Miss Ima always has been and always will be the first lady of Texas." Rest in peace, Ima Hogg.
Ima Hogg. I can't get over that.
I know.
Hi, I'm Ima.
Oh, it feels like a prank call. Like Bart would call down to Moe's and be like,
she's married to Mike Hunt.
Is Hogg there?
Yeah. I know.
First name Ima.
That's fucked
Crazy.
Her parents did her dirty.
They did her dirty with that one.
That's crazy. Well,
we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to tell you what had us spinning in our coffins this week.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. Spencer, I know it had you spinning
you
this
know
week.
already. So on Sunday, we had the exciting opportunity to go and do a VIP tour of Graceland.
Graceland. It was incredible. And I will say, no matter how you feel about Elvis, whether you like his music or his movies or not, I feel like it is just a historic landmark at this point.
Incredible.
A part of American history.
Oh, yeah. Well, and actually, maybe what you guys don't know is when Madison and I met, like 15 years ago, 14 years ago, we were fully in our rockabilly era still. Or like our vintage enthusiast. And we would go to Cody's Viva Cantina in Burbank, where all the rockabilly girls and guys were. We'd go see them play in their bands, and we just loved it. And I feel like Elvis was such a constant to be playing for us back in those days. Fucking loved it.
Loved it.
But
what a good time.
I've done an episode on Elvis on Cult Leader, which dives more into like the conspiracies about him. And there's like a group known as the Presbyterians that was kind of culty.
Oh.
And so there's an episode of Cult Leader on him, which you guys can find. But
we should have listened to that on the way.
Oh, on the way to Graceland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to listen to myself.
I know.
It was a 3-hour drive, so we had plenty of time. But actually, one of the coolest things was we stopped in Jackson, Tennessee, which was the halfway point, and we learned that that is the Jackson that Johnny Cash and June Carter were singing about in the infamous song Jackson.
Yeah, which I feel like we always kind of sing.
We love that song.
Yeah, and it's the home of rockabilly. Jackson is.
Yeah, it's the birthplace of rockabilly. So that was just a cool stopping point for us. Went to a gas station there.
We got coffee. Someone asked if we were all in a band.
Yeah, we were dressed to the nines for it. I'd been dying to go.
Which I will say, we were dressed to the nines. Nobody else there was. Tennis shoes? You think I'm wearing tennis shoes to the blue suede shoe?
Hello.
And no.
It was just so much fun, but I'm sure we'll talk about it as we get into it. But that was definitely like a highlight of the trip. Initially, we were actually supposed to go to Dollywood together, but then it didn't open until the next weekend. You guys already had your tickets and stuff to come visit. And so we ended up doing Graceland. But I'm so happy we did because it was so...
It was once in a lifetime.
So rad. Once in a lifetime.
I didn't realize how much stuff there was beyond the house.
Well, yeah. In addition to just the house itself, there's over 200,000 square feet of just Elvis memorabilia, his costumes, everything. It's just incredible. And so I'm going to actually kick us off because I want to talk a little bit about, and this is going to make sense, okay? There's obituary written all over this.
Oh, yes.
Because I know you might be like, in a coffin spinner on Graceland, but we knew going into it, we're like, okay, this will be a coffin spinner.
Right.
But a little history on the property before Elvis Presley made it so famous. And it was actually interesting to learn about the namesake, in my opinion, because Elvis did not, in fact, name it Graceland. The previous owners did. And I'll talk a little bit more about the inception of that in a second. But I had always just thought, because Elvis was such like a gospel singer, especially in his early years, that like a lot of people are also under the same assumption that it was like named after like Grace
like
as
his
yes,
Grace.
his Grace, or Amazing Grace. Oh man.
No, we're gonna get in trouble.
No, we just can't play his music. We're allowed to sing it.
I feel like we sang on one of the videos and got a copyright.
Girls, we're still figuring out YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway.
They're trying to stop us.
They're trying to slow us down, and you can't do it. So the home, or Graceland in particular, was owned by the S.C. Toof family.
Toof?
Toof.
Okay.
And the house was actually constructed by one of the family members, Dr. Thomas Moore, and his wife, Ruth Brown Moore. And that's kind of the house, not as we know it today, because Elvis did a ton of construction on it.
But I am related.
You are related.
That is my maiden name.
They had a daughter named Ruth Marie, but the property was named after Ruth's Aunt Grace by her father, by Aunt Grace's father, the original owner, Stephen Toof, who was like a Memphis printing magnate.
Oh.
He was like a big deal in the printing world there. And it was actually the property was part of a 500-acre farm owned by the family, which makes a little more sense now why they had so much space to build on.
And all the horses and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Dr. Thomas and Ruth built the mansion. But again, prior to that, the land had already been in their family for several decades. And they built the house in 1939, wanting to emulate just kind of the Southern plantation style that was very popular at the time. And they had a daughter who, interestingly enough, was a harpist with the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. And she held all kinds of recitals at the house. So I thought it was kind of funny that it ended up going eventually to another musician.
Yeah. And like all the music notes on the
fence and stuff. Yeah. That I do think was Elvis's touch. But yeah. And then when Elvis took over the property, he was just really starting to skyrocket to fame. He purchased the home for $100,000, and he was only 22 at the time. Mm-hmm. You want to be a 22-year-old homeowner nowadays, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of it. I mean, $100,000 would be around $1.1 to $1.2 million in today's money, which seems fair given the amount of land that he got for it. But he obviously did a ton of renovations to the house. I don't know how much you're going to get into with that.
I will, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I did read that today. Graceland is valued at anywhere between $400 to $500 million.
Oh, shit.
That's according to Google. So who knows the accuracy on that? I'm like, with everything that's there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it does sit kind of in an interesting place. So I had gone through Memphis with Alyssa, actually, when I moved out to Nashville. It was one of the last, like, stops for coffee before making the final 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were in Memphis, we looked up Graceland, but I was like, we have Hot Dog with us. It's going to be too annoying to try and figure that out. And so we didn't end up going, but I remember it being like 45 minutes away. Like it's
6 minutes from Mississippi. So it's like on the outskirts.
Totally. But yeah, initially it did just start out as like this family's farm that eventually some of their descendants built this mansion on. But it's funny too, because they were saying like back in the day, like it was considered a mansion, because when you go to it, it's definitely a large home.
Yeah.
But like
I thought it was going to be larger.
I did as well. And like granted, we weren't allowed to go upstairs. Nobody is allowed to go upstairs. One of the tour guides that was taking us around, she was telling us that like
she's been there for years.
And they have A-listers come in, like A-list actors, singers. She's like, oh, Katy Perry was here and da-da-da. Like, no one's allowed to go upstairs. The only person she said that was allowed to go upstairs was Nicolas Cage, and that's when he was dating Lisa Marie Presley. So no one's really allowed to go up there. But
for a good reason.
For a good reason. But that's kind of like the history of the land prior to Elvis coming in. But then I believe you'll take it from
I'm going to take it from here with...
We're going to go back and forth a little bit.
Yes. I'm going to get into kind of when he bought it and what life was like. Okay, so like Spencer said, in March of 1957, a 22-year-old Elvis Presley buys Graceland. And you know what? He actually didn't spend his first night there until June 26th, 1957, according to Graceland.com.
Oh, so a couple months. Was he touring during that time?
I believe so.
Okay.
Also, he and his family spent their first Christmas there in 1957, and that December, he got the draft letter.
Oh, that's right.
In that house.
Yes.
And then the next year, I guess his parents actually moved into a trailer where he was stationed for basic training. So it's like Graceland is like home base, but, you know, they were all over the place.
Right.
I do want to touch on the house that he lived in Memphis right before Graceland.
Okay.
Because we know he was born in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right.
But he did live in Memphis a little bit before Graceland also. His previous house was 1034 Audubon Drive in Memphis, and he bought it for like $40,000.
Okay.
He purchased that for himself and his parents in 1956, so just a year before purchasing Graceland.
So he got some money, and he said,
"Yeah,
I'm snatching up the real estate."
I want to say I heard that it was like a record deal, like one of his first record deals, and so he spent the money on the house. But people would literally camp outside, climb fences, scream into the windows. Like girls were, trying to hand him gifts.
It was like Elvis mania. Yeah.
Elvis mania. So his parents couldn't even leave the house without fans like surrounding their car. So Elvis, obviously, he wanted something bigger and he wanted something more private and something where his entire family could live with him, not just his parents. And so Graceland was huge, and he ended up buying Graceland and moving out of Audubon. But Audubon is now just like a private residence.
Got it.
So sorry I gave the address up, but it's public record, it's history. All right, so life at Graceland seemed pretty incredible. I mean, up into a point, right? And I'm sure I know that there were probably ups
if those
and
walls
downs.
could talk.
If those fucking walls could talk, and we're going to get into it. So it did not operate like a normal home at all. It was Elvis's world, and everyone was just living in it. Everyone who did live there were his parents, his grandmother, his friends, his employees, the Memphis Mafia, which was basically like his closest friends and entourage who lived with him, were security for him, toured with him. They were just his guys. Elvis himself had a really upside down schedule, which I don't think it's that upside down, but he was famously nocturnal. So a typical day would look like for him waking up at like 4 or 5 p.m., having a huge late night dinner, watching movies until sunrise, riding motorcycles through the halls.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Spontaneous food runs around Memphis.
Sounds fun to me.
Sounds so fun. And the house just got more and more like Elvis throughout the years. He started building and adding on and redecorating. So he added rooms to the house, like the jungle room, which is iconic. It's
the best.
Green shag carpet on the floors and on the ceiling, and beautiful, like rocks and a waterfall. And
the house was filled, honey.
The house was fucking
It was filled.
Cool. There was the TV room downstairs, which wasn't my favorite room. Remember, you go downstairs and you go, I think, left, and it's the TV room, and then right. is that cool, like, fabric room with the pool table.
Yeah.
Well, the TV room has 3 TVs in it.
Which at the time...
Huge deal.
Yeah.
But I guess he liked to watch TV. He wanted to watch different shows at the same time.
That is insane.
That's insane. But then I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, but like commercials were a thing. So he was probably watching something that goes to commercial, and he's on to something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
There is a story that I read that I absolutely love. So Elvis loved a gun. He had so many beautiful. Like
gold, mother of
turquoise.
pearl.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we actually got to go see like his shooting range, which was like a little tiny room. But
they also cured meats in at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. But he loved a gun. He, obviously he was not a fucking saint, and I think he was probably a little kooky.
Sure.
So there's a story. He was watching Robert Goulet on TV, and this is like the mid-70s. Well, he wasn't watching him. He just came on the TV, and there are some accounts where people are like, he hated Robert Goulet. But then other people are like, he had no problem with him. I don't know why he did this, but he saw him on the TV. He takes his gun. He shoots the TV. There is still the TV there with a metal thing over the bullet hole in that house.
Really?
Yes.
I want to go back and relook at pictures now.
I know. So there's a PBS article that talked about this, and it says, quote, "There was nothing Elvis had against Robert Goulet. They were friends." Kevin Kern, a spokesman for Presley's home and museum, Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee, told the Associated Press in 2006. But Elvis just shot at things on a random basis. He was just shooting shit.
Love it.
Also in the house, I think my favorite was the stained glass peacocks that were everywhere.
Beautiful.
Like in that first front room.
Yeah.
And then there's mirrored walls. And there's this show called Paradise that Alyssa made me watch because in the second season, they like hunker down in Graceland. And the girl's a tour guide for Graceland in it. And she, when she's giving the tours, talks about why he mirrored those walls in the front and like up to his bedroom. And it was because he could see, because of the mirrored walls, he could see when someone was coming in the door. He could see someone in that room,
Makes sense.
From his bedroom.
You know what? One thing that was really interesting that the champ pointed out is he's like, there is a bar in every single room of this house.
Yes.
Like they had like a racquetball court.
Yep.
There's a bar there. Like every single room in that house had
every
a bar.
room.
He was a party guy.
Yeah, he was. Also, in that house, I noticed quite a few monkey statues. Did you notice?
Yep.
Okay. So Elvis loved a monkey. He owned a chimpanzee named Scatter. And this was like the mid-60s. And Scatter had a brother named, God, I can't remember. It was like Fatter or Ladder or Patter or something.
Okay.
They were like a trio or a trio. They were a duo. But he ended up acquiring Scatter, and he loved this monkey. There's an article that I have linked that you can like read the whole thing where the Memphis Mafia just talks about this monkey and how much he loved this monkey. But a chimpanzee, chimps freak me the fuck out. I think they're so cute.
Especially ever since Chimp Crazy, like hearing all those people get their faces ripped off and shit.
Yes.
Girl.
Okay, so Scatter lived at Graceland.
Okay.
He was, probably, he was like a full-size chimp. Wore diapers, whole thing.
Okay.
Well, he bit everybody. He would bite everybody. He was a pain in the ass, and I don't blame him. He's not supposed to be in a house.
No, and his dad's shooting the TV. There's mirrors. It's confusing.
But they like talk about stories like how the monkey would know that he was in trouble or something, and Elvis would walk up to him and be like, "You coconut head motherfucker, come on." but loved him so much.
You coconut head motherfucker.
Yeah. But then like grab his hand and Anyway, I think there's also some not great stories. But Scatter reportedly drank beer, wore little shirts, and at one point bit the face of a woman at a party.
Shit.
Yes, and that's why they had to get rid of him.
Ugh.
There's also a story where he got loose in Bel Air and like walked into someone's house. Like he was crazy. But he was a monkey, so you can't blame him.
Monkey business.
Monkey business.
Chimp crazy.
Chimp crazy. Also, as we know, there's Priscilla.
Yes.
Priscilla Presley and Lisa Marie. I feel like, Priscilla and Lisa Marie are a huge part of Graceland because it, became their house. So Elvis meets Priscilla in Germany Years later, she moves to Memphis and they marry in 1967.
The most beautiful wedding pictures you've
God,
ever seen in your life.
I know. What did they say about that wedding? That they got married, I think, like in Vegas?
In Vegas at a hotel.
But those wedding pictures are actually in Graceland, like the ones that we know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They only got married in front of a couple people and then came back.
Had like more of a soiree.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Graceland.
I loved seeing all like the 8mm footage and just the pictures.
Sweet. It was sweet. The following year, after they got married, Lisa Marie Presley was born. And for a while, it seemed like Graceland actually functioned like a normal family home.
Yeah.
Like Lisa Marie would ride golf carts around the property and play in the huge backyard, and there were horses, and it just, seemed very sweet and innocent. But Elvis's lifestyle eventually strained the marriage. He was touring constantly, staying up all night and having affairs, allegedly, but
yeah,
come on, we know.
And also we know the messiness of Elvis's relationship, the age gap, the power dynamic between him and Priscilla, but we're focusing more on just the property itself.
Yes. So by 1972, Priscilla left Graceland and they divorced the following year, but interestingly, they remained pretty close, and that relationship later becomes very crucial in the survival of Graceland.
Yeah.
And we will get to all the estate drama in a little bit, but I think we need to jump back to Spence to talk about some death.
Yeah, we got to talk about the death of the man himself, the king of rock and roll. So, as you mentioned, they get divorced October of 1973. After their divorce, he continues touring, he continues his filming projects. They talked a little bit about it on the tour of like, he still spent a lot of time at Graceland, as did Priscilla, as did Lisa Marie. And they would do things like he would take one of his planes, the Lisa Marie, and come pick her up. And they told one cool story where he found out that Lisa Marie had never seen the snow yet. And so he came they chartered the jet, took her out to, I think, Colorado, let her play in the snow for a little bit, and then took the jet back home.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So after their divorce, he also starts dating again, and he starts dating a woman named Linda Thompson. He dated her from 1972 to 1976, and then he dated Ginger Alden, whom he actually was engaged to from 1976 until his passing. And she is actually the one who, according to some sources, found him unresponsive on August 16th of 1977 at Graceland. He was only 42 years old at the time of his death.
Looked so much older.
He did. Well, he partied hard.
Yeah.
He partied hard for sure. Preliminary autopsy findings determined that his death was a result of cardiac arrhythmia and that drugs were actually not involved.
Oh.
However, a later toxicology report stated that Elvis's blood was found to have had extremely high levels of opiates, Dilaudid, Percodan, Demerol, and codeine, as well as Quaaludes.
Oh, wow.
So he was really...
A little cocktail.
Yeah. PBS reported at the time of Elvis Presley's death, 2 pathologists found evidence of severe and chronic constipation, diabetes, and glaucoma.
Oh, wow.
Which is where I think all the rumors are rooted in, that he died on the toilet.
Yeah.
The painkillers that he used are likely what contributed to his severe constipation.
Oh, yeah. Me with one Zofran.
Yeah.
I had to do an enema at your house.
You did. So when Elvis died on August 16th, the entire city of Memphis was just overwhelmed by his death.
I didn't even think about that. The house sits on a main street, but I don't know if that street was there when
it existed.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't called Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
But yeah. So people start showing up, right? Like fans start showing up at Graceland almost immediately once news breaks. I remember even talking to my mom, and she remembered being at the mall, I think, when Elvis's death was announced. Yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
they said it over the loudspeaker.
Oh, shit.
But fans start showing up to his house. They're leaving flowers, candles, stuffed animals, letters, everything outside of the gates of the mansion. The day after he died, Elvis was placed in a copper-lined casket and laid out inside the Graceland mansion for a public viewing. And people fucking showed up. Around 30,000 fans filed through the house to see him.
It was open?
Yeah. So what was interesting about that to me too is we talked about how would he feel like with us just walking through his house right now? Like, remember we were talking about that at the end of Graceland? Like, do you think he would like that people are still walking through his house or not? But he was a star. I mean, I feel like he would want people to.
I mean, how do you not love it? Like, but yeah, I know it's intrusive, but also, I mean, if I was that beloved and people just wanted to come and see and were nervous,
you have our
and
permission.
Oh my God, yes, come and see my little
come
house.
Through the house.
Yeah.
But the crowds outside were really intense, and they were growing by the minute, and it got so fucking crazy, and there was actually 2 deaths that occurred as a result. So a car accidentally drove into a group of fans that were gathered outside the gates, and 2 teenage girls were killed.
No.
Yep.
Did not know that.
And then 2 days later, on August 18th of 1877, or 1877.
Victorian.
We're talking about the other Elvis.
Yeah. You guys thought we were talking about the
Elvis Presley?
No.
We're talking about Elvis before Lee.
Yeah, he was a Victorian god.
Yeah. On August 18th of 1977, Elvis's funeral was held at Graceland, and it was a private service attended by family, friends, and music industry people. Gospel music was performed because Elvis notoriously loved gospel. And after the service, his casket was carried out to a white hearse. And thousands of fans lined the streets of Memphis as the procession passed. But here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Elvis was not originally buried at Graceland. Instead, he was laid to rest at a mausoleum at Forest Hill Cemetery in Midtown alongside his mother, Gladys Presley. But only a couple of weeks after the funeral, police find out that there is a group of men who were plotting to steal Elvis's body, grave robbers, you guys, and hold it for ransom. So the police contact his family, and then his father finds out, and he's horrified, obviously, that someone might try and steal the body of his son.
Yeah.
And that led to them moving Elvis's body. On October 2nd of 1977, Elvis's body and his mother's were quietly exhumed from the cemetery, and they were taken to Graceland, where they could be buried on the property, and they knew that they would be safe. Then I will, I think, turn it back to you after we take a quick break.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back. And we're back. Madison, why don't you pick things up where we left off?
Oh, I'm going to. So, like Spencer was saying, Graceland had just become a graveyard.
Truly.
Truly.
Call that Graveland.
Graveland. And there are many other people buried there. So I want to get into that. You, Spencer, you left off. Elvis dies in 1977. His body and his mother's body are moved back to Graceland. They are moved to what's called now the meditation garden, which sits like right off of the pool, which I thought was pretty interesting. And it's basically like just a small, quiet garden where the whole Presley family is buried, which was really interesting. First, of course, Elvis is buried there. I don't know if you mentioned he has an eternal flame there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Like sitting right by his grave that never goes out. And then next to him is his mother, Gladys. And I just want to talk about her for a second because her death had such a profound effect on Elvis. He was extremely close to his mother. When she died in 1958 at 46 years old, Elvis was reportedly devastated. Graceland.com talks about it. They said, quote, August 8th, 1958, Gladys Presley becomes ill and returns to Memphis via train to be hospitalized with acute hepatitis. Elvis is granted emergency leave and arrives in Memphis on the afternoon of August 12th. He visits her that night and the next day and night. A few hours after Elvis goes home to Graceland to rest, She dies in the early hours of August 14th at age 46. Her body lies in state at Graceland that afternoon. Services are held at the Memphis Funeral Home on the 15th, with the Blackwood brothers singing Precious Memories and Rock of Ages, two of Gladys's favorite hymns. She is laid to rest at Forest Hill, and we know she gets moved. All That's Interesting also talked about Elvis at her funeral, and they said, quote, "At her funeral, Elvis was inconsolable. Goodbye, darling. We loved you," the singer said at Gladys Presley's gravesite. "Oh God, everything I have is gone. I lived my life for you. I loved you so much." Elvis could barely walk after burying his mother, and many close to him said that Elvis changed irrevocably after Gladys's death, grieving her loss for years and thinking about her in relation to just about everything he did. Even in death, Elvis Presley's mother cast a large shadow in the singer's life. When he met his future wife, Priscilla, he talked incessantly about Gladys. It's even believed that he saw a resemblance between the two of them, between Gladys and Priscilla, which I don't see.
No.
And Priscilla would later note that Elvis's mother was the true love of his life. So she's buried right next to him. Then we have Vernon Presley, Elvis's father. Vernon handled much of Elvis's financial business during his career and lived at Graceland as well. And we did get to go see his office, which was very cool.
Yeah.
But also, one thing I wanted to say about Gladys is that she had a poodle wallpaper bathroom.
Yes, she did.
I loved.
Yeah, of
course.
We'll
post a picture of that.
Oh, really?
Okay. Here's the drama with Vernon. Vernon remarried a woman named Devada Stanley in 1960, and they lived at Graceland for a while until they moved, but they stayed pretty close to Graceland. But I was curious, like, why isn't Devada buried there too then, if Vernon's buried there, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was so much fucking drama. The Daily Mirror put out an article when she died in 2013. I have to read you just a little excerpt because it's crazy. I found it on an Elvis forum. I have it linked. It's elvis.com.au. But it says, quote, "The king never liked or trusted his father's second wife, and he proved to be a good judge of character. If Elvis was alive today, he may have been singing a new tune, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. Because the woman branded his wicked stepmother has died, aged 88, at her home in Nashville, Tennessee." So she was the second wife, but there are so many claims here. It says she wrote 2 muckraking books claiming to reveal shocking secrets about her stepson, alongside claims that he had a gay affair, was forced to marry Priscilla, and committed suicide because he had bone marrow cancer. The biggest bombshell of all was her allegation that he'd been in an incestuous relationship with his mother, Gladys.
You know, she was just the evil fucking stepmom.
Evil stepmom. It says that she wanted posthumous revenge on her superstar stepson. She blamed Elvis for wrecking her 17-year marriage to his father, which ended in November 1977, which was only 18 months before Vernon died. Thank God, because who knows what she would have tried to get.
Oh, she would have been knocking walls down.
Yeah.
She would have stolen the property. You spot a snake.
Yeah.
He knew she was a fucking snake, and
Yeah.
she proved herself to be a snake.
Well, they met. I guess she and Vernon met because her husband died, but he served with Elvis. And like when she had heard that his mom died, she called him and called Vernon and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Swooped in.
So yeah, she didn't make the cut. She's not at the cemetery there. But who is there is Minnie Mae Presley, which is Elvis's grandmother. She lived at Graceland for years. There's not a lot about her, but I did learn that her nickname was Dodger.
Oh.
Cute. And then there is a plaque there for his twin brother, Jesse Garin Presley. So our tour guide said that they did that to honor the twin brother, but the twin's body couldn't be found in Mississippi where he was originally buried because he was a stillborn. He was Elvis's twin. I guess they didn't have any money for a headstone or anything, so they put him in a shoebox and wrapped a red ribbon around him and buried him. But when they wanted to exhume him and bring him, they couldn't find
Oh.
him. And then there's some recent tragic additions. We have in 2020, Lisa Marie's son, Benjamin Keogh. He dies at age 27.
Spitting image of his grandfather, by the way.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. He's buried at Graceland. And then in 2023, Lisa Marie Presley herself was laid to rest next to her son. And they have big crypts that are not in ground.
Yeah. I was watching actually quite a few interviews because you hear so much about the family feuds and all the thing. And I know you're probably going to get into some of the trust drama, but I've been watching interviews post Graceland with Priscilla Presley and Riley Keough, both separately talking about their mom. And it's really interesting to hear Priscilla talk always because it seems like she just never let Elvis go in a way. And how could she with like the public interest and everything held in the case? But I'm also like, it makes me think about like the woman that he was engaged to at the end.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Like, was she like, well, what the fuck am I, chopped liver? Like, I was gonna marry the man.
Right.
But also, I always question someone who comes around when someone's in a notoriously hard, difficult time in their life and they're on drugs and all this stuff. Like, were you good for him or not? You know?
Right. I know. It is interesting. It's complicated.
It is.
Okay, so actually, should I get into that drama right now before you go on to your next? Okay.
I'll end us with a little nightcap.
Okay, perfect. So the chaos that came after Elvis died is interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize how much chaos came. Tumultuous. Despite being one of the most famous musicians in history, Elvis actually died with relatively little money. After his death, the estate was worth only about $5 million, which, I mean, if you've seen the Elvis movie or know about Elvis, you know about the Colonel, his manager, Crooked, which I thought it was interesting that they had a whole like museum for the Colonel there.
Such an asshole.
I know. But I guess Elvis maybe wouldn't have been who he was without him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he got a raw deal with that. And that still sounds like a lot of money, $5 million, but the cost of maintaining Graceland and staff and the property, that money disappears very fast. And he made hundreds of millions of dollars in his lifetime.
Right.
So this is where Priscilla Presley comes in. She decides to turn Graceland into a public museum. It is open to visitors in 1982, which I don't think we said yet, which is interesting.
Yeah.
In 1982, they opened it up to the public, and it completely changed the finances of the estate. Today, Graceland attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors. It's like a little theme park.
Truly.
It's pretty crazy how big it is. It's one of the most visited private homes in America. But after Lisa Marie Presley dies in January of 2023, a massive dispute breaks out over who controlled the Presley estate. Riley Keough, who's Lisa Marie's daughter, now ultimately controls Graceland, but it got very messy before that. So Lisa Marie had a trust called the Promenade Trust. It included Graceland, Elvis's personal belongings, and a stake in Elvis Presley Enterprises. And that was one thing we learned on the tour, that the Presleys never threw anything away. That's why they have literally everything of his. In 2016, there was an amendment to that Promenade Trust. That amendment removed Priscilla Presley as trustee because originally Lisa Marie was Priscilla. And it replaced her with Riley Keough and Riley's brother Benjamin. And Benjamin dies in 2020, so Riley becomes the main heir.
Yeah, she's like the sole heiress.
Yes. Just weeks after Lisa Marie Presley's death, Priscilla files court documents questioning the validity of the amendment. And I read through all the court stuff, and Riley wrote Priscilla a letter I think she called her Nona or Noni or Nona. I think Nona. Basically, like, I cannot believe that you're doing this. I cannot believe that you're trying to like take this away from me. These were my mom's wishes. You don't know how many times I stopped my mom from suing you. Like they had
They
Lisa
duked it
Marie and
out.
Priscilla, duked it out allegedly.
Well, imagine being the granddaughter and knowing like you have this protectiveness over your mom who's just passed away. Like, this is what my mom wanted.
I know.
And she probably lived her whole life hearing like, my mom's terrible or whatever,
I know. But there is like, would Graceland wouldn't be, all of that stuff wouldn't be worth what it is today without Priscilla.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a thinker.
It is. So Priscilla files documents questioning the validity of the amendment, and she argues that the signature looks suspicious, the document has formatting issues, and that she had never been notified of the change. So basically, she was asking the court to invalidate the amendment, which would have meant Priscilla regains control of the trust. And this created a huge public family dispute. In 2023, Riley and Priscilla reach a settlement. So the settlement is Riley Keough is the sole trustee of the estate. She became the official owner of Graceland. She agreed to pay Priscilla a lump sum and her legal fees. And Priscilla was given a role as a special advisor to the trust. Riley's younger half-sisters, those were Lisa Marie's twins, are beneficiaries of the trust.
Got it.
In 2024, things do get kind of weird. Remember your dumb-ass criminal from a few weeks ago? Okay, that whole thing, I just wanted to reiterate. A company suddenly claims that Lisa Marie took out a $3.8 million loan and was using Graceland as collateral. Basically, they tried to auction off Graceland. It turned out that it was a fraud and that woman was arrested. But the dumbass criminal. So today, Riley Keough is the sole trustee of Lisa Marie's estate. She controls Graceland, and Priscilla remains involved, just in a smaller role. And the trust ultimately benefits Riley and Lisa Marie's other daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it should.
So there you have it.
And then I thought this was really interesting. So I was talking to one of our friends after our trip to Graceland. She's like, oh, did you know that there is a Graceland replica house in Orlando? And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Cool.
And so this is from the Orlando Weekly. The headline reads, hey, that house looks just like Graceland. And it does.
Fully.
It says, quote, the phrase hellish grinding might be too strong to describe the noise the acorns were making under my feet, but the sharp crackling cut through the stillness in the air at Highland Oaks Estates with enough intensity that I stepped off the sidewalk and walked instead onto somebody's nicely manicured front lawn. Usually when you wander through your average Florida subdivision, you hear some kind of errant noise. Kids laughing, the stilted hiss of an angry sprinkler. But this stretch of homes in Pine Hills is tiny and cloistered enough to be movie lot silent, and I wished to disturb no one. Indeed, a few of the homes on the street looked like they were transported directly from a Ward Cleaver wet dream. But one, the crown jewel of Highland Oaks, is a little different. It looks like it would fit better on Elvis Presley Boulevard in Memphis, Tennessee, than on Pine Street in the Cleaver hometown of Mayfield. This is the house I've come to see. It goes on to say that the replica is a little piece of kitsch buried deep in a cranny the average tourist would never manage to uncover.
Can you visit it, or is it just a private residence?
It's a private residence.
Oh, shit.
Orlando businessman Claude Dowda, I believe, constructed the home. And by further way of explanation, he told the Sentinel that he always wanted a colonial home and that this was an important consideration in his decision to build his imitation Graceland in 1981. According to the Sentinel, it cost him about $480,000 to build it. The house thrilled Elvis fans who flocked to gawk at the home and visit its annual Christmas light display.
Oh, shit.
He did take some creative liberties, so Elvis's pool is just a traditional pool shaped. This guy did a pool to resemble a guitar.
Oh, cool.
And while I was looking for that, though, once our friend told us about that, I was like, oh, I need to look into that because we're going to do a coffin spinner on it. Then I saw that there's also one in Nashville as well.
No way.
Another replica home.
Oh, my gosh.
And this one, not on the inside, but on the outside, it pretty much perfectly mirrors Elvis's Graceland.
That's cool.
And it's in Beech Grove, Tennessee, and it's just fucking cool.
That's cool.
And I think you can actually, I believe you can stay at this home as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, we just love a home and a graveyard. I just think that's so cool.
We do. And we also love an obituary medicine.
We do. Speaking of heiresses, Spence.
Yes, we love an heiress.
We do. This is from the Akron Beacon Journal, 1979. It says Barbara Hutton dies. Woolworth heiress.
Ooh.
She had a bad reputation.
Oh.
Barbara Hutton, the F.W. Woolworth heiress, known in childhood as the poor little rich girl, has died of cardiac arrest, a spokeswoman for Cedars-Sinai Medical Center said. She died a 66-year-old jet setter, 7 times married, and 3 times a princess, yet a symbol of the cliche that money doesn't always buy happiness, as we know. I mean, if Graceland's,
Yeah.
Graceland's an example. She said it herself once. I hadn't a very happy childhood, though I had millions of dollars. I had no mother and no home. In recent years, her health declined and she shied from publicity. On Friday, she was brought to Cedars-Sinai and pronounced dead on arrival, according to hospital spokeswoman Tess Griffin. The often hospitalized millionairess had been released from the hospital 8 days before after being treated for pneumonia. Miss Hutton was born in New York on November 14, 1912. Her parents were Franklin Laws Hutton and the former Edna Woolworth, a daughter of F.W. Woolworth. Miss Hutton's mother died when she was 5, leaving her a $20 million inheritance, but dooming her to a childhood of being shuttled from relative to relative, then from school to school. At 20, she married her first husband, Alexis Devani, who claimed the title of Prince of Georgia and Old Russia. In 1935, she divorced him in Reno, Nevada, charging extreme cruelty. Her later marriages were to wealthy Danish nobleman Count Haugwitz Reventlow, British-born actor Cary Grant, Lithuanian prince Igor Trebotsky, Porfirio Rubirosa, an international playboy and the Dominican Republic's minister to France, German tennis ace Baron Gottfried von Kram, and Laotian prince and abstract artist Raymond Donvin. She had one son, Lance. Her body was being flown to New York for funeral arrangements.
R.I.P. girl. Money doesn't buy happiness.
Money does not buy happiness, girl.
But it gives her a story, my
Poor
God.
little rich girl.
Poor little rich girl. All right. Well, I've got one for us from the Rushville, Indiana Republican. Fort Wayne mayor dies. Fort Wayne, Indiana, Mayor Harry Balls, 67.
No! Are you kidding me?
Harry Balls, 67, a Republican, died Sunday night after a kidney infection. He was serving his 4th term. Balls, the Fort Wayne postmaster from 1922 to 1931, was first elected mayor in 1934 and served 3 consecutive terms. He did not seek office in the 1946 election, but was re-elected in 1950. A past president of the Indiana Municipal League, Balls was also a former president in the U.S. Conference of Mayors. A Fort Wayne native, Balls was long associated with the Jacob Klett and Sons Lumber Co. and was made president of that firm in 1933. He was an active worker in many civic organizations, including the Boy Scouts, Elks, and various Masonic organizations. Balls is survived by the widow, Irene, and by a son and daughter by a previous marriage. Mrs. Marcelle Clark Smith and Donald D. Balls, both of
Donald D. Balls.
Both of Fort Wayne, his first wife, Minnie Balls.
You're lying to me.
Minnie Marie Balls.
Minnie Marie Balls.
Rest in peace, Harry Balls.
Oh my God, Harry Balls, I'm a hog. Minnie Balls. Fuck. God, those parents are criminal for that shit.
They really are. With that being said, we have spun in our coffins.
We have bitched our obituary.
That was him after the Quaalude. That means it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals. Who you got?
Okay, this just happened. Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. This is from justice.gov. Okay, we're getting official here.
Real.
Jason Canals, 39, Spring Hill, has been arrested and charged with 8 counts of interstate transport of stolen property. Okay, it goes on. According to the indictment, Canals perpetuated multiple schemes to defraud wholesale produce companies. Basically, he stole more than $500,000 of onions and potatoes. It says Canal's schemes resulted in a loss of over $600,000 to the victim companies, and he is being indicted as we speak.
That's a lot of onions and potatoes.
Why the fuck would you do that?
I don't know. What? I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
What were those sacks you brought in on the airplane?
I smuggled them to California.
What the hell?
That's a dumbass, girl. You don't need that many potatoes.
Dumbass.
And that's a lot. I have one that was sent to us via Geoff. He said, "Hi, Spencer, Madison, and Pups. I saw this happen downtown for me, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'll let the article explain for me because it's just too good to spoil. Anyway, I love your show and everything you guys do to make us laugh during hard times and teach us strange facts we didn't know we needed. From a longtime listener, first-time writer. Love you guys, Destiny." Thank you,
Aww,
Destiny.
Destiny.
And this is incredible. It's from the Idaho State Journal, and it says, Pocatello man tumbles from his own moving SUV, gets back in, and crashes it through building.
Why?
A 42-year-old local man was arrested on several charges after police say he drunkenly fell out of his moving SUV as it drove through a busy Pocatello intersection Tuesday evening before leaving a building in near ruins. TJ Marcus Christensen of Pocatello has been charged with 2 counts of felony malicious injury to property, as well as misdemeanor counts of driving under the influence, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, and reckless driving through a Pocatello police investigation. So around 6 p.m., officers get this report that there was a single vehicle ejection crash.
Oh my God.
They show up, they identify the driver, he flees the scene, but what he had done is basically he's driving in his fucking SUV, so drunk, falls out of it, gets back in, and then goes and crashes through a fucking building.
Oh, fuck.
I know. I believe he's fine. I mean, he took off on foot after this.
Oh, shit.
But they said he moved the vehicle several times to ram the garage door and gate to escape.
Oh.
And he's going to have a hefty fucking...
He's a stinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The officer told Christensen, "Stop right there," and to sit on the curb, but instead he stood with a wobble and with glassy eyes replied, "I don't have to have a seat," before walking away.
God.
And then they searched his car, did his testing, and they found out that he's a dumbass.
Yeah, totally. Oh, God.
Well, that about wraps it up for this week. If that's all right with you, Mama.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But it's time for us to leave the building. But we'll be back next week with some more coffin spinners.
And obituaries.
And dumb-ASS-criminalllllls. Goodbye.
Goodbye.